Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone. This week, we have the one and only Stacey.
No party people.
She's an absolute blast, my little silver fox. And we do a lot on Studio Sinister on YouTube. We do live feeds every week, every other week. We hit and miss. And I've decided that we are the ones that we go all in. I mean, we have the best makeup.
Oh, yeah. Balls to the wall.
And it's always this excitement, just waiting for Stacey's camera to turn on.
I feel the same way with you because it's like that as soon as we get the notifications in the Instagram chat, it's okay, here's your theme and take it to the limit, guys. And I already know both of us are like, okay, how extreme?
Yes. Regardless, I'm going to open the floor. I know we're doing this for a second time because we have technical issues, but I want to give you a chance to let everybody know what it is that you do, why you do it, maybe, what do you cover, where can they find you? You're just going to have a little advertisement here.
All right. I'm always ready to sell myself.
Oh, all right.
I am Stacey, and I am one half of the gorgeous ghouls of Early on Wednesday. My host, Lavender, and I, we cover everything humanly possible. We cover true crime, we cover cryptids, we cover paranormal. And I know to some, they feel like maybe there's too many categories, but for us, there's not enough categories because one of the things that we like to say is you may have heard the story, but you haven't heard it how we tell it. Lavender will take a nosedive into the dark web and she finds stuff that nobody can find. And then I have been a true crime aficionado since I was like 12. If they've killed more than one person or if they've been left in a shallow grave, I can find them. I am Witch with All the Gifts 666 on Instagram. Lavender is Murder Juice. And we can be found on Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean. If you can stream a podcast from it, we are on it. Recently, over the summer, we did a game of accident, suicide, murder. I got to tell you, Tasha, you, Nisha, JJ from Conspiring to Argue.
Who is not a patron, you should go check out my Patreon feed because that's where all of my videos go, unedited and everything. And I keep my little cat balls and sensors. And this one down here behind me loves Stacey today. And it's usually where the kids kind of mess around. And there is a 7-day free trial on my Patreon feed for all my tiers. You won't get a shout out until you're past your thing and you stay, but it's there so you can at least, wow, that came out really weird. It's there. Bar. Woo! So you guys can go look at it and get a feel for what's there. I don't know what was happening there. I think I just got a little possessed.
You know what? Sometimes I don't know if I have a demon in me or if I am the demon.
It loves you.
That kiddo likes me. You know what? I appreciate you, little one.
Hold on, we'll wait for it to go off. I might know who it is. Is that David? Rebecca, is that you? Natalie, is that you? See which one it is. Are you under 10 years old? I need another number. Okay, so we're under 10. So if we're under 10, I never named it. Were you Hunter's brother or sister? One of them. Okay. So it is. All right. I just don't know. I know which one that is. Okay.
I lost one in between. We lost one in between my sister and myself.
Are you related to Stacey?
Hmm? Guess not.
I love it just the same. I lost it during this time frame, actually, but I do the math in my head. I'm like, yep, it was like end of July, beginning of August.
Oh, wow.
So hello, maybe we should think of a name. Are you a boy? Are you a girl?
Are you mad now?
Okay, let's do it.
I'm ready. Let's go.
2 miles under the ice of Russian, that this is going to be awful, Vostok, I can't say it without sounding weird, Station of Antarctica is a lake that is rumored to be housing a creature of mammoth proportion. Another name for this particular lake is the alien Lake Vostok. So not only do they just call it by the station's name, it's alien specific. This is the most vast freshwater lake that is the size of Lake Ontario, but they say that it's actually twice as deep at 500 meters. Now, if you want me to convert that, I have no freaking idea. Sorry. I don't even know what to compare it to. So it is what it is.
I don't math the math, so.
A meter's what, 3.3 feet? So around 1,700 feet, I think, deep. It's believed that the lake remains in its liquid state due to the pressure of ice and the possibility of geothermal heat escaping from underneath it. You've got the layers of ice on top, so 2 miles of ice, which is plenty to stay cold. Then,
Oh, I was going to say that's freaking insane. Can you imagine?
I just watched Alien versus Predator before we recorded. I just watched it for the first time. And they go to a base in Antarctica where there is a pyramid, like, what is it, 1.5 miles down into the ice.
Yes.
So it'd be similar, I guess, to that, only it's a pyramid and not a lake. Basically, you have ice on top, and then you have all of the heat from inner Earth or whatever you want to call it from under that basically just encapsulates this lake to where it can stay fluid. And I'm just thinking of those gushers, where you bite into the gusher and it's like gooey on the inside, but it's like stuck around a little capsule.
Or even the old school ice tray where it's not completely solid yet, but it's icy on top. Oh,
Yeah, you got
just
through.
right. There's that.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
that's
I think of.
Yeah, just like that. Now, this particular lake is reported to have 50 times the nitrogen and oxygen levels when compared to the average freshwater lake. And we all know that combination is a recipe for giant monsters, right? Similar to why we had dragonflies that were as big as cars. And back in prehistoric times, all of the creatures that would basically require the oxygen levels to fluctuate, there was so much more oxygen back then that these things could just grow and grow. Whereas now we're a little lax on the oxygen levels. Things have just not required. We've adapted to not need as much oxygen to survive. But my only thing would be, I wonder how many other things would be in the lake that would be food. 2 miles under the ice. So it couldn't be penguins. It couldn't be polar bears. It couldn't be anything that we would typically see on the surface because it can't penetrate that 2 miles down. It would have to be other fish.
We have the anglerfish.
Mhm.
We have rockfish. We've got, and I don't care if people are like, no, it's not true. It is. I've seen the scientific evidence. We have megalodon.
Dude, I still talk about megalodon all the time. I don't think megalodon would be in this particular batch of water, though, because it is encapsulated.
Maybe not.
So I don't know how it would have gotten in. To be fair, I don't even know how this would have gotten in there.
I'm thinking a trench.
You have the hot pushing up, and then you have the water, but it doesn't seem like it flows out into like ocean or open territory. It just is like a lake that's inside of it, like it's limited. Now, before we want to get into the creature itself, I want to talk about the facility and the history behind it so we just know what we're dealing with before we actually get in. The Vostok Station was built in 1957 by the Soviets, but it wasn't actually discovered by anyone else until 1974. Do we know anything else magical that happened in 1974?
Yes, actually.
They call me Stacey.
Okay. So I just got to tell you this. So almost everybody, but apparently my wife knows the song Stacey's Mom.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a punk band and their name is Mad to Sane. And it's spelled Tsai, Mad to Say. And he's a bisexual singer. They've got one song that's called Killer Queen because it talks about the most beautiful girl in town, but she's psycho. But he sings a song and it's called Stacey's Brother. And it's so funny because it's a parody of Stacey's mom. But he says, Stacey, don't misunderstand. I want us to still be best friends, but I hooked up with your baby brother.
I just know that I like older dudes, so it is what it is.
I'm noticing that my tastes are changing. I seem to be attracted to the same age group I am.
Okay.
In a couple months, I'll be 50. So I start to see women that are 45, 48, 51, 55. It's oh, I take notice. But here's the thing, the younger girls take notice of me.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't want to teach you stuff and have cereal on Saturday morning.
I'm in my 30s and I still eat cereal on Saturday morning to watch cartoons. So shameless plug. Last night I was up. It was 12 o'clock, so it was midnight. And I am sitting on the couch in my britches and a t-shirt with a bowl of Reese's peanut butter cups watching Angry Beavers.
Okay, I can't be mad at you for that because I like Angry Beavers.
I love that show. I've noticed too that now that I'm older, which is funny because the guys that I was on TV and stuff that I liked when I was younger, in my head, I never knew how old they were. I just knew I liked them. And then now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, they look even better now than they did when I was in school. And then come to find out they're my husband's age. And I'm like, huh. The guy, he used to play Angel in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I know who that is.
And now he was in Bones. Oh, mercy. And Phil Team or whatever. Oh, he's handsome.
Right. See, that's where I'm at because my adolescent and teenage crushes were Wonder Woman and Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Halle Berry.
No.
Xena? That's funny because a lot of people are like, that is so stereotypical lesbian crush. I'm like, no, there's a lot of lesbian stereotypes. I just didn't get it.
I was just saying that because I like Xena. I was like,
a lot of my hetero friends.
Kate Beckinsale. The girl from Underworld?
Yeah.
The body does nothing for me. But neck up, fantastic.
Okay, here. Did you see Mike and Molly?
Yeah.
Sister.
Yes.
Okay.
She has a new show called American Housewives.
Yes. And that's what I just started to say is Mike and Molly, she never caught my attention. But then American Housewife, and she's put on a little bit of weight and she's got hips and yeah.
Let's backtrack here. Back to the facility.
Sorry.
Sorry, got me a little distracted here. I keep thinking about this. So again, the facility that we were talking about is built in 57, but no one ran across until 74. It's actually 800 miles, which is about 1,300 kilometers from the South Pole. So, the anti-Santa. Few people are willing to go there and call this place home because it is so cold, which I think I should move there because it sounds fantastic. Temperatures, the temperatures there have reached a record low of 89.2 degrees below 0 Celsius, which is 128.6 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. So it's cold.
Which means that if you even have a one butt ear out, you're going to grow an icicle in 2.2 seconds.
Yep. Now, that being said, at this particular station, there's typically 30 to 35 people inhabiting the station during the summer season of Antarctica. And among this crew are cooks, programmers, radio operators, electricians, mechanic drivers, surgeons, and anesthesiologists. So if you're not finding anything in the ice, you're damn sure having a good time. That guy's got the med. Now, the purpose of the facility is documented. The reason they're there, quote, is for collecting ancient climate data and research regarding ice cores, is what they said.
Air quotes.
Yes, we all know how that goes.
Cores.
There's-
Ice cores.
Exactly. I'm like, the ice core. I was like, oh, you mean probably the nuclear core you're putting in the ice? Is that what you're talking about? Some of the data that's monitored involves meteorology, geophysics, oceanography, aerology, and magnetology. That was rude. My fan was going, and then it went, and my neck fan just shut on when this fan went weird.
You didn't hear that whisper?
There's a whisper? No.
That's what I thought you were stopping for.
What did it say? Did you hear what it said?
Oh, shit. Yeah, it said, see me.
Oh, well, it got my attention, so that works. I don't
Fucking hell.
I don't see anything.
Like a goosebump.
Could you tell what type of voice it was?
No, it just
You know?
sounded, it didn't have a specific gender to it. Was a whisper. And it just said, see me. Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you when we come back. I can only see you if you turn the lights on. If you turn the balls on, it's the only way I know you're there. Sorry, guys. Well, I can't say that's the only way, but it takes you guys a little more effort to show up where I can see you. So if you want us to look over there, you got to turn the lights on. They built a new facility in 1982 because something about it, the snow and the wear and tear, and like it snowed so much and it was not used that they couldn't find it anymore. So they just built a new one. However, that one didn't last very long because there was a short circuit in the wiring that caused a devastating fire that obliterated a diesel generator that was on the site, leading to the death of one of the site's polar explorers.
They're lucky it was only one.
Yeah, because I would assume these diesel tanks are big. But regardless,
Most of them hold about 100 gallons.
yeah, and they're there for long periods of time. So I'm picturing a silo full of diesel. And I don't know, it's just crazy. But either way, they got things in working order, and they continuously drilled through the ice for 30 years straight until they broke through the ice into a vast underground lake. Surprise. Now, this event was said to be the only one of its kind, and it took place on February 5th of 2012. So it's really not been that long ago.
Yeah, it's only, what, 12 years?
Yeah, now we're going to get into the creature itself a little bit. And this mysterious underwater beast is known as none other than Organism 46B.
Or as we in California call her, Bertha.
This is a good place for me to explain to you why I chose this topic. I did not choose it on purpose. It just happened. I was watching Resident Alien, and in one of their episodes, the alien and this person are out to dinner at this fancy restaurant. And in this restaurant is a tank with an octopus in it. And there are a lot of theories, if you get to asking around in the real world, where they believe that octopus or octopi are actually alien in nature, they don't match anything else known to us on the planet. They are uniquely alien. They probably had some sort of organism or something that was just stuck in an asteroid. It hit and it just landed in some water and then it just grew. And then we have octopus, which it does make sense. They are pretty alien. They start talking about this. So I'm like, okay, it's an octopus, which is strange. I wasn't ready for that. I'm watching something the next day, and out of nowhere, this National Geographic commercial comes on, and it's all about octopi and the world underwater. And you follow this octopus, it does all this stuff like a documentary. And I'm like, that is the weirdest thing I think I could probably see topic-wise for National Geographic on my TV randomly. And I'm like, okay, that's weird.
So it picked you, basically.
So that night, I was making a grocery list, and my kid was like, hey, can you add, I don't know, Fruity Pebbles to the list? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. So I pull up my notes, and I go to this one note, and down at the bottom, all it says is Organism 46B. I have no idea how old this note is. I don't know how long it's been there. I don't remember putting it there. But I was like, well, that's weird. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, well, maybe it's a topic list or something, but there was no list. It was literally just that by itself. Okay, I'll look at it later. Next day, I turned on the TV to watch Futurama. And in Futurama, this random episode I was watching, they went to a carnival and there was an octopus ride and had tentacle arms and legs. And that was like something was special about this particular ride. So it was like octopus. I was like, okay, we're doing 46B. And here we are. So yeah, this one I did not choose.
I get that though, because
when the universe calls, you listen.
Well, yeah, like today I was straightening my desk up, getting ready for tomorrow, and I come across a note. It's the same thing. It's a big sheet of binder paper, but it just has one sentence on it. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at it, and yeah, it took me down a major rabbit hole.
It amazes me how that happens. It's the timing of it all, because all these things I was watching were on different channels. They were on different platforms. One was on Netflix. One was on YouTube TV. One was on Paramount Plus. Like they were all over the place. And they all had the same thing. But anywho, many believe that this particular beast is colossal sized cephalapod, categorized similar to a glass octopus. Now, glass octopi are transparent and they're found all over the globe. So they can adapt to warm water, hot water, cold water, neutral water, salt water. Yeah, they're anywhere. So they're pretty robust.
Like a bull shark.
Yeah, exactly. And this particular species is exceptionally intelligent, and they have actually caught them on camera using shells and rocks as tools to assist in catching their prey and breaking the shells open of like clay. So they'll take a clam and they'll beat it against a rock on the corner to shatter it so that they can eat whatever is inside. They'll set traps, but this is a cephalapod. I mean, you wouldn't assume that it has the brain capacity to put that together. Like it'll leave traps and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I've been to across all of the United States. I've been to several different aquariums. And if they have any type of an octopi, they're fascinating because they do things you wouldn't expect them to do.
Like a squid or a jellyfish or something that doesn't seem like you just don't think of things in the water, always in the water like that, as being intelligent. You assume that's more of a mammal type thing. We're wrong though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what's crazy is it weighs an estimated 1 ton. That's heavy. This thing's monstrous. They clock it in at about 33 feet, which is about 10 meters. So we're talking about as big as a school bus, right? They're 30 feet, I think, is a school bus. And it's got 14 tentacles, which is a little different for an octopus, 8 and stuff like that. But this sucker has 14. and each of the arms are covered with the supposed like super suckers, hickey machine, basically.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of it right now. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, it in the appendages, they say are not only used to grab things, but they have neuroreceptors throughout them so they can actually smell and taste smell and taste the things around them in the water through these sensors that are on their tentacles.
That doesn't surprise me though. Because I mean, jellyfish, they're essentially mindless and they survive just because they go about and they're basically a filter.
There's floating around like, whoop, got something. They're like an underwater bug zapper.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Organism 46B, they say it'll feel around and see like different, like, okay, I don't want that. I don't want that. Here, boom. And it'll go for it.
Did you ever see Pan's Labyrinth?
I don't think
Guillermo
so.
del Toro. So there's a character in that movie, and 46B reminds me of it, but it's essentially blind, and it has a set of eyeballs on plate at a table it's sitting on. When the little girl goes through, it's actually genderless, takes and puts the eyeballs on its hands and then puts its hands up to its face like this.
Well, that's
So
weird.
that way it could see because the eyeballs were in its hand. That's what, if it wanted to see to the side, it can go like this. It can go like this.
Like its nail.
Basically.
Okay.
The whole thing is that for it to register, its brain, it had to see.
Yeah.
That's what 46B reminds me of, is it reaches a tentacle out.
Go the one on your arm. Just mine have color and yours are black and white.
Oh, you've got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Twinsies.
And then this one. Oh, wait, I can't bend my arm that way.
I've got a bunch that go around.
Yeah.
I need more. Donate to the podcast today.
You know what?
Shameless plug.
I told a friend of mine, I'm going to start a GoFundMe so that I can get tattooed.
I wanted to do like a donation thing where if people donated to the fund, if we got to a certain amount, I would go get get a tattoo of my logo, the box with the stuff in it, not the words, but the box in it. And I would do it. I would do it all on a live feed.
I would donate to that. That's the thing, that's what it reminds me of, is that it sends out its tentacle and it picks up the electromagnetic.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Well, because sharks do that with their nose. That's how they.
First thing I thought of.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. They can tell that there is an organism around them that's in distress.
Yeah. And then if it's something, maybe they could be like, no, this isn't what I want. Like maybe it only eats certain things.
Or it has to survive in 2 very different temperatures of water. Maybe it's not only taste-wise, it's survival-wise. Like, hey, if I'm going to put out 60% of my energy to catch this one thing, and it may injure me in the process, I'm not going to go for it when I can find something else.
That's exactly true. And I would have said there's a smell if it's something like rotting. Maybe it doesn't want to eat it.
That too.
Yeah. But the thing I find the most fascinating about this creature is it's loaded with chromatophores that create amazing camouflage, just like any other typical octopi would have. Now, for those of you who don't know, chromatophores are groups of cells found in aquatic products or animals that have biological pigment, and they're controlled by fluctuations in hormones and nerves. So instead of it being like a lizard where it gets scared and the tail falls off, this thing gets scared and it might turn different colors because it's trying to figure out what the hell's happening. Like maybe it's just floating around, it's purple the whole time, but something spooks it and all of a sudden it's like, I've got to blend in. So it just goes whoosh and just radiate into whatever's around it.
VHS tapes.
Yes.
When you'd have to do the tuning. So the lines would, Yeah, maybe it's like that. Maybe it's all of a sudden it scrambles its receptors until it can figure out what
Where
is the
be?
safest environment for it to, what can it blend in with that it's going to be the safest.
Yeah, and one thing I found out was they actually are able to reflect light, change color, and even portray a texture. So not only does it show a color, but if it's on, say it is a reef type situation or there's like a mossy rock, it can generate that texture of that moss or the crevices in the rock so that it can blend into that, not just change the color. So it looks like a weird floating blob of color. It actually can 3D camouflage like Predator.
Well, yeah, Predator's so cool.
I know.
And that would make sense because especially if it's setting a trap. So if it's setting a trap and it's blend in, and let's say it's going to catch another cephalapod. So if it's crawling across a rock and all of a sudden it's like, oh, rocky, rocky, rock. Wait, what's this? Wait,
Yeah.
this doesn't feel right. No, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. It's like
before it can catch it.
I don't
Yeah,
know what
something's not right here.
I've said a really weird thing, like a name just popped in my head and I don't know who it is. But I don't know. If there's a Becky out there, I don't know. Apparently Becky's in my head and I have no idea what. Anywho,
Becky's got a big butt.
and I cannot lie.
No, Sir Mix-a-Lot knew it.
But now here's where things get a little next level. All right. So the dick kicker is it is reported to being able to use these receptors not only to blend in, but to flash colors and spark a hypnotic effect on prey. So not only can it blend in, it can, like the snake from Jungle Book, when he does Mowgli.
It can hypnotize.
Yep. And it doesn't appear to be anything telepathic. Sorry, I just got like a weird smell that time. That's weird. Something's like in here. I just don't know what it is. Now, they also have a very strong neurotoxin that they can actually shoot out into the water, not just ink like a regular octopi would have. It's an actual thing that paralyzes prey up to 150 feet or almost 46 meters. And then on top of that, they say because it does have that whole cephalapod body structure, it can actually shapeshift, but not just in a matter of like a mouse squeaking under a door. I mean, it can mold itself into whatever it wants. It could be another fish or whatever. It can make its body form into that. So like next level shapeshifter. You'd be like, oh, look, I'm a fish. And then something comes to get the fish and then it eats it. Yeah.
Could you imagine if they could actually, if military scientists actually get close enough to it, the chemical germ warfare?
You just wait. Well, I think we're touching base on that towards the end, I think. Now we have an idea, the location, the facility, the people there, and the creature. Now we can get into some of the stories and conspiracies that surround the facility and the lurking leviathan that dwells beneath it. So let's start with the controversial account. An 8-person crew set out to explore and document any life forms that were discovered in Lake Vostok. Included in this team was Dr. Anton Podolka. That's it. Hell of a name. I wish everybody could see my face, which I got picturing all. Because that was pretty good.
It kind of sounds like the hokey pokey.
Yeah. I was thinking polka dot.
Polka dots, yeah.
But it's Padalka. So, however, scientists in the group built a one-man elevator to transport members through an ice tunnel to a camp deep beneath the surface. Alien versus Predator. Why is it so, it's so weird. I always watch that. Because it literally is a tunnel of ice and you go down and 2 miles to the lake. Same thing. Only
that's where predators.
Instead of a parrot, you get a lake. Yep.
Well, think about the movie The Thing.
I've not seen it yet. It's on my list. I watched The Blob. Wait.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Oh, hold on, because there's this guy. Oh,
Kurt Russell.
yes. Then I have seen it. I just remember what it's called, which is funny because I've seen all the other movies and he didn't do anything for me. But that movie with the beard and the rugged and the
Well, yeah, because they're rugged, they're tough, they're military. They're not only are they tough, they're smart.
I don't care about that. I
So-
want him to be called bearded and yeah,
Be as sharp as a box of rocks, huh?
yeah. I don't care as long as you know how to use it.
I just caught what you said.
So they built this elevator or shaft or whatever you want to call it. They send people down this tube of ice. And when they get to the bottom, they actually created a camp that was set up on an ice shelf that they had carved out near the shore of the lake. Big boy, my husband. The funny part about that is my husband just walked where my view is and then mooned me.
Okay, that's awesome.
They liked it.
My wife is not fun in any way, shape, or form, so that would never happen in my house.
Well, I do it to him all the time. So
I do to her all the time too.
he's
But
walking around in his undies. Okay. He's out of sight, so we're good. After the camp was set up, the diving commenced and the divers ran into the creature 46B. And the following is a quote by Dr. Padelka about the first encounter when they gained access to the lake. And this gets real fast. And it says, quote, "We encountered Organism 46B on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional. It is also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was killed this way."
can you imagine if that was in the toilet? You sit down after a Russian meal of whatever, and you barely get a little splash on your butthole, and you're
Up a
paralyzed
day.
and dead.
We could install
Oh,
it.
and workers.
Get
You can
you.
have a bidet in the Arctic.
Well, it would be on a heated tank.
True.
What
Very
else-
true. Hey, that, you know what though? That would be a pretty
46
smart way.
be gone.
Oh, couldn't even imagine.
A little after this whole happened, there was another horribly traumatic dive. While conducting research, the divers saw a large school of fish in the distance. Acknowledging the lack of a threat the swarm of fish put off, they just continued about the research. They're just, oh, look, a school of fish. Cool. Because they've never been down there, and they're probably interested in it as scientists. While distracted, however, the divers did not pay any mind to the fact that the plentiful fish party was inching a little closer and a little closer and a little closer, observing their every move. Then suddenly, an ink-like substance swiftly seeped into the area and temporarily paralyzed the entire crew. They quickly determined that the viscous venom that had ventured into the void was in fact dispersed by Organism 46B itself, and it had disguised itself as the school of fish the whole time. There were no fish. It was 46B
Crazy.
pretending to be a school of fish. But matters get worse. Getting caught up in
They
the
always
venom,
do.
caused one of the divers to become hypnotized. He must have been the closest one to it, and he got the blunt force of it because the venom of 46B is said to be so intense that a diving suit does not protect you. Diving gear will not protect you. It'll penetrate the gear and still cause that paralytic effect. And to the horror of the witnesses, radio operator, here we go, Alexis, hold on, Vinogradov, I think is how you say that. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good Russian.
I was like, that was good.
Thank you. Heritage. Thank you. But he was snatched up right in front of all of them, dismembered and eaten by the beast in front of a paralyzed dive team. So they're all frozen, and this guy gets snatched out, dismembered, and devoured while they're just paralyzed and can't move.
I wonder why it picked him. Maybe because it was more challenging to get to him.
Well, I'm wondering if he was closer because I think he's the same one that it hit him so hard that he was dazed and hypnotized. He wasn't coherent as to what was happening. So he probably wasn't even trying to fight if he could. He just was mesmerized by this thing, so it was easy pickings. Now, after that extravaganza, as a result of said attack, the radios were damaged, like he had mentioned before, and the crew became cut off from the rest of the world. I mean, you thought it was isolated before, now you can't even radio out for help. Nothing. Then, another time, the diving crew was submerged conducting some observations when they noticed another crew member swimming towards them in full scuba gear. Now, it appeared as though they were returning from a dive of their own, and I'm guessing with primarily men around, there's a lack of communication. So they probably just didn't let people know they were both doing their own thing. And when the scuba Steve got close, they suddenly found out that the diver was, in fact, 46B in disguise. The beast grabbed a biologist before he could even react to what was happening, stunned the man, ripped the man apart, and proceeded to consume him with its oversized beak. So it's 2 down, right?
Yeah.
No, wait. Yeah, 2 down.
Yeah.
Radio man and then this guy. And these are very violent. It's not like it kills them and like they don't anaconda or whatever, like suffocate them. It just...
Or like a whale and just swallow them.
Yeah. This thing had a full-on beak like a squid. This is what one of the witnesses had to say about the event. It says, quote, "He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off its head, then popped its remains in its mouth. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically."
Okay. Hear me out on this. So it hypnotizes, it uses a neurotoxin. Do you think that maybe it does this so that there's less of a fight from its prey, from its capturing? Or do you think this is just like a gross display of power?
I think it's using these tactics when there is a group of humans in the area. And as far as this thing knows, no one's ever been here, right? So this thing's never encountered. But if they're down there in scuba gear or whatnot, they probably have spears or something to protect themselves with. And my guess is it shoots the ink and it goes everywhere and paralyzes everybody so that it can go in, get the food it wants without being injured. And then it gets time to get out beforehand. I feel like that's what it's doing.
So I wonder with the pods, with the sensing pods, I wonder if it can tell that there's certain, maybe not of an elite kind of human within that group. Maybe someone's got a health problem. Maybe someone eats garbage. But then there's this one that's very strong, very healthy. It's very enriched with iron. It's going to taste good.
I would assume that most of the people on the expedition were in fairly good health, if not great health, because I don't feel that they would have been approved or taken on this mission or expedition, whatever you want to call it, if they had the ailments, especially with the atmosphere that they were putting themselves into. You wouldn't want someone who's struggling health-wise because it's going to be a risk to you, it's going to be a risk to the team, and it's going to be harder for them. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sure Russian scientists don't like that dicking around stuff. They go in, they get what they want, and if you're in the way, then of titties.
That's how they were with the space program. So why wouldn't they be that way with any other program?
They wouldn't want anybody in that's going to jeopardize anything. They want to go in, get the info they want, and get out. Is the way I look at it. Another story goes like this. Once they realized that the monster was in fact intelligent, they started drafting a plane. They recruited, oh, here we go again, Dr. Marta Kalishnik, a prior professional athlete, to use as bait since she was the best swimmer on the team. Organism
And she was a female, so her existence was not as
Yes.
important.
And Organism 46B was successfully captured alive. However, when they were closing this thing in this giant box they had concocted, one of the tentacles made its way through the specimen tank. The doctor was able to grab an axe and remove the portion so that it could secure the door. So it's pushing on it. It's like folding it and stuff, but it wasn't actually severing. So somebody grabbed an axe and went just melee on it.
Yeah.
So that way they could seal the tank. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Out of nowhere, it's said that the amputated tentacle ripped the axe away and disappeared into the dark and icy depths, as if it had a mind of its own. That same night, the same night, the severed octolimb emerged from the liquid abyss, crawled into that diver's room, and strangled her in her sleep.
Oh, so it was like, all right, I got your number, bitch.
Yeah.
I got your number. Did you see the movie The Mist or read the book?
No, it's on my list too. I hear a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, because there's a scene that's very similar to that Stephen King wrote, that these creatures that are in the mist were of a military scientific creation. And one of them loses their tentacle. Very same situation. And this thing's flopping around. So then one of the people gets a little too close to it. And boy, it shoot right up and took that sucker out from under the door.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what is happening here. Now, a lot of people chalk it up, like the whole concept of this beast, to like a War of the Worlds debacle. The story goes, Michael Forsyth had written about a fictional animal that some newspapers plastered on the front page as truth to stir up some negative opinions or fear of the Soviets during the Cold War.
Of propaganda. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So in theory, somebody's saying this whole concept is made up. They just use propaganda, blah, blah. Now, on the other hand, it's rumored that the Soviets actually captured it, and they were working on finding a way to weaponize the venom and the creature in its entirety. The original plan was to turn the creature in as a new species and receive global scientific acknowledgement. That was the scientist's plan. But that douche canoe, Mr. Putin himself put a kibosh on the plan and seized control of the asset.
Be like, look,
we're almost there that we could get into our world domination theory. So the whole concept here that I thought was strange was if you cut the tentacle, it can grow back is normally how people see it. But if it's removed, to have like, what if instead of it being you lose the tentacle and you grow the tentacle back, what if you cut the tentacle and the tentacle grows a whole new 46B?
Shit.
Mic drop. Another theory is because the lake was isolated for 15 million years or so, there's really no telling what all is in there. And it could have evolved completely separate if you're into evolution, a whole different rail. So, I mean, you have everything else out here. We were at one point one big hunk of rock, right? And everything was doing its thing, and then it broke out into all these other pieces of rock. But this piece's pocket has always been this pocket. So even if it was evolving as everything else would, it wouldn't be on the same level. It's an entirely different thing because it's been completely isolated from that track with nothing mixing it. So it could do whatever it wanted. Oh, wait. Oh, what if it's like Schrodinger's lake?
Oh,
Another viewpoint here is some people think that Organism 46B actually has a name. We all know and love this organism, and it's called the Kraken.
why not? Why couldn't it be the
Yeah.
Kraken?
Not only that, but they think, and I just got really weird goosebumps. So, I mean, somewhere in here we have a visitor. But not only that, it's actually the one guarding the sunken city of Atlantis. And that's why nobody can find it. They get them before they can get the word out that they found it. Possible.
Okay.
If they were to get out into the abyss, right? That would make sense. So what do you think? Myth or monster?
Oh, you know what? I looked at it, I read up on it, and I am more than sure this is a science experiment, science school project that went apeshit.
I don't know if I would say it's an experiment that went awry because it said, well, in theory, we believe the stories how they go. It was already there before anyone ever got there. It was already
Okay.
B before anybody even drilled a hole and found it.
Hear me out on this.
Okay.
What if, this is an alien being, it's an alien transplant. What if 46B is like the grandpappy? And then there were other little tiny ones that kind of got planted in other areas, but they didn't survive because they didn't have the isolation like 46B did.
So you mean transplanted, not like a meteor struck, more like a alien dispersed little pods of cephalopods. Several pods of cephalopods.
Yeah. Think about it. At one point in time, our world was mostly water.
True.
And so what better way to conquer a planet than to utilize its resource to kill itself with its resources? Kind of like what we're doing to our planet now.
What if Organism 46B was in one piece, right? And then we had the Great Flood. Water levels went up, and it's like overfilling of the laughs. It went up and up, and then they just spread out everywhere. And some did make it, and some didn't make it when the waters went back down because of climate. What if they did one hub as a test? The flood made them spread, because religious or not, they have seen in the rock levels evidence that in fact it has flooded.
That's what I was going to say is it doesn't matter what your standpoint on religion is.
Yep.
Because there is scientific proof that we had a great flood. And it was a great flood for a long time.
Yep. So there's a possibility, maybe. Now, riddle me this, Batman. If you knew something like this was in the water, would you still swim?
No, I don't swim now.
Me neither.
And I'll tell you why. Because I moved to Southern California and I went to college in Southern California. I went to UCLA. And one of my favorite spots for the weekend was Redondo Beach. And this is like, it's a pretty popular beach because it has a boardwalk and all this stuff, right? I was literally just walking out into the water, heading out to swim because it was freezing. And I had only got about noonie popo level. I was icing my tuna, I guess you could say.
Flashing the clam.
There you go. When I came out of the water, I had like this long old like seaweed thing on me. But I don't care what anybody says. Whatever touched me was alive. Because it wasn't like a, floaty. It was a fat. And I come flying out of that water so fast, I probably left a brown streak.
They know it.
In the water. No, there's shit that bites.
All right.
And apparently can get you from 150 feet away. I don't move that fast.
Me neither. Ever. Another question is, how do you think the Soviets would have weaponized that venom? Are we talking tranquilizer dart kind of situation? Are we talking isolate just the venomous portion, maybe make all of their military immune and all of their people immune? It's like you can do your build up of venom to handle snakes for people that work at the zoo.
Yeah. I don't know, though, because that toxin is pretty damn potent. How many people are they willing to lose? Well, I was just going to say post-war.
They were doing some weird stuff, like with no shame.
Yeah, oh God, I can't. Fibromyalgia robbing me of my brains. Their human life has very little value, and they will sacrifice thousands for the greater good.
Yep.
But it's not really even that good.
I'm thinking, what if they do it instead of mustard gas or tear gas?
Or pepper spray.
I'm thinking more like a mass invasion or something, not just a one or two, but if you want to take out like a whole platoon or something, you drop on the whole base and then just kaboof, and then everybody's paralyzed.
Every anti-vaxxer in the world right now is going to shit their pants when I say this. I am not an anti-vaxxer because I've seen what happens when we don't have. What if they created a pseudo vaccine to where they tested the amount of venom a human could take before
like the LSD trials?
Yes.
100%.
Like the Tuskegee Airmen, like syphilis.
Yeah, crop dusters. I think we just cracked the case. Although I do want to make one final point here before we wrap this particular episode up. In my research, I found that they caught the beast, the government took the beast, and then nothing else. I didn't hear what they did with it. I didn't hear it turned up dead. It just, the government came in and he took it and nothing.
Well, okay, that would make a lot of sense because serial killers don't plan murders out loud. Or maybe it's coming back. We just don't know that it's.
Like, oh my gosh, what if they infuse it with nuclear bomb? Although if you have a nuclear bomb, you don't need to worry about them being paralyzed. Unless first round is 46B venom to paralyze them so they can't fight back. And then bomb so that your bomb is not going to be. I'm probably giving people an idea.
No, I don't believe that for a second because if we can think it, they've already done it.
True.
That's just the way.
I'm a little odd. I come up with some real weird ones. So you never know. I'm probably on a watch list now. Actually, perhaps I am on a watch list. Jinx. All right. So we'll wrap that one up. And again, Stacey, thank you. I love you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, everybody out there, I'm telling you, look her up on social media. Go listen to her podcast. Check out Lav. Actually, if you guys want to know who Lav is, if you're watching this, if you want to know who Lav is, go into my feed from when I went to Paracon, May of 2024. And that cutie little patootie with the blonde hair with about my height, that's Lav. I think that's Philip. I think he's an older man.
He's probably seen Lavender's behind.
Ironically, Philip is also the one that loves Kevin.
I started to say, dude, are you a bisexual ghost? Because you like Kevin and you like. But yeah, she's the beauty and the brains. I'm the brawn and the brains.
I'm just here.
No, you're absolutely not. Because no, when you show up, like especially with the game, when you showed up for the game,
sad.
I would and when you show up on Mondays with Sinister, with the godmother Farah, I will text Lav and I'll be like, oh shit, it's on. We're going to have a good time. Throw
Yep.
a little extra pinch of whiskey in that cup and let's do this.
Check out Miss Stacey and Miss Lab. Give them some love. Tune in on Mondays to Studio Sinister for the live and uncut. If you want something that's just gloves off, just be ready. If you get offended easily,
Raunchy.
don't listen. Don't watch. If you don't have a dirty mind, don't watch. Don't listen.
If you are a prude and you are not over the age of 18, don't listen.
Yeah. If you find yourself constantly clutching your pearls, don't listen.
Unless it's a pearl necklace. And then that's.
Until next time, everybody. See you.
Catch us on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and rate and review the show wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show by allowing us to be found more easily when other listeners search for us. If you have a chance, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and become a patron. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shout-outs, access to the private Discord server, and video versions of episodes, both regular and members only, that are raw and unedited. So they're always a good time. As an added thank you to the Big Show patrons, we also are going to be giving out custom stickers and mini prints after 3 months of membership. I'm currently offering a 7-day free trial, so head on over and see how awesome being a member can be. Before you go, click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some of the self-designed merch, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and magnets can be found on the TeePublic site, and they have sales at least once a month. I believe it is 30 or 35% off. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly how much, but keep checking back and get them when they're discounts. They have $16 tees, and it's great. For handmade crochet items such as Nessie, Mothman, aliens, Fresno nightcrawlers, and the little ghosts or a big ghost, as well as pants, swimwear, the best tumblers I have found yet as far as merch is concerned, dresses, office supplies, and more, visit the Square merch store. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please don't hesitate to send them in to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experience on a special listener episode. Just make sure to specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show, and let me know whether you would like to have your real name or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you again so much for all your support, and I'll see you next time, my friend.